note that on the claims, add Peterson Plumbing to the claims for fire hydrant in the amount of $4,412.01,
Okay.
and that'll bring your grand total up to $27,814.54. Other than that, everything is
Okay.
accurate. Yeah, Peterson Plumbing. They have the hydrant. I told them to go ahead and send us the bill for it. They haven't put it in yet, but that way, I mean, I don't want that much
I
sitting
am
around.
on
Yeah,
that, it really is, sure.
but that way it's on hand when the weather
Mm.
is warmer, they can get it in quick.
I'd like to make a note, Chairman, on Reynolds Oil. Jay called me and that one furnace, he had quite a bit of trouble with the burner on it that he talked to him. It was burning on the outside, but he got it all cleaned out and
Where was that? Which
at the
furnace?
community center.
Okay.
Those are the ones that usually
Yep.
get
Figured as much.
the older ones, yeah.
Okay.
We should probably have him service them all, but that was my concern. It's been quite a few years since they'd been serviced.
I make a motion to accept the claims treasurer's and minutes report.
I'll second that for me.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to accept the claims treasurer's report and minutes. Any further discussion? Jim?
Yeah.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
And I vote aye. On to number 4, it's that time of year again to adopt the Nebraska Basic Code of Ordinances. They're just updated every year. It's going to be ordinance number 154, an ordinance to revise all the ordinances of the city/village by adopting the Nebraska Basic Code of Ordinances 2015, to repeal prior ordinances, to require filings, and to provide an effective date. Do it every year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Just a second.
Yeah.
If we want to pass this tonight and waive the 3 readings, we'll have to have the motion to waive the 3 readings and then a motion to pass the ordinance. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
I will make a motion to waiver the 3 readings.
I'll
second.
Wait, Angie did it.
Okay, motion been made by Tammy, seconded by Angie to waive the 3 readings of ordinance 154. Jim?
Yeah.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy? Angie?
Yes.
I vote aye. Then I need a motion to pass ordinance 154.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 154, presenting to the update of the basic Nebraska code.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to pass ordinance 154. James?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
And I vote aye. All right, number 5 is the Mary Anderson property proposal. She contacted Donna about just giving the village her property, which I didn't get the address, but it's the last house on Main Street here, south. She says there's the roof leaks and there's one ceiling that's been damaged from the leakage. Other than that, we don't know a whole lot about the property. And that's about it. She wants to give it to us. She's not coming back to town.
And that's the one on the south side of the tracks?
No.
No.
Right down here by the park,
North of
Oh,
Park.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
on the west side.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's several options. I think we could look at that by checking if it's bad enough that it could be trained in. You could use that. If it's fixable, we could fix it, put it back on the market. We would have to look at that Nebraska ordinance as to where that fine line is for price sell, what you have to do to sell it. I don't remember, because in the bank building there were some, remember there was some, were you there, Ange, when we sold the bank building? Remember there was.
So long ago.
Yeah, we had to have somebody come out, and Shoulders came out and did an appraisal for us, but I, you know.
We can always just auction it off or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we could hurt ourselves.
No,
It's a good,
Because I've heard it's not going to be totally that bad inside.
I think if it's salvageable, we can slap a roof on it or whatever and get it sold relatively quickly, I would think.
Mhm.
at least we have it in our control.
Right.
Mhm.
We
Right.
can control what happens to it, otherwise it'll probably fall down
Right.
and become a mess.
Yeah, we don't need that. Well, I would.
Okay, and that, so if we're wanting to take this, I got this from Ben
Okay, you have a-
on what we need to do.
Okay.
We would need a motion that says that Mary Anderson has or will execute a quitclaim deed for the property, and that we will accept it subject to a title search.
Okay. Yeah, so then that will tell us if it can be done.
Right.
No liens and whatever.
I believe we would.
Yeah, she's trying to get rid of, I'm sure, I don't know. Anybody have any?
I doubt she would have the money to do it. I think that'd be part of what we would investigate.
Yeah. 'cause you-
I think, I did a little bit just online, and I
Did you
think
find
all she,
anything?
according to online, all she owed was last year's.
Okay.
So,
The taxes would be fairly small.
it was minimal.
Yeah.
It won't be much. So you need a motion.
I need a motion if we're wanting to move forward, a motion
How's it supposed to read?
that she, small print,
Oh my gosh. Have you see that, Jim?
motion that says she has or will execute a quitclaim deed for the property, and that we will accept it subject to a title search. Can you read that?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you make that motion? Me too?
Yeah, go ahead, I can't, scroll them, I don't want to read it, I can see it, but my glasses are dirty for some.
I know.
Well, I will make motion that she has or will execute a quitclaim deed for the property, and that we will accept it subject to a title search. Is that all you need?
Yep. You got a motion?
I'll second that.
You got a second. Any other discussion? James?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
And I vote aye. All right, number 6, access equipment to consignment sale. We have a shredder and a pickup truck. I don't think the shredder's ever been used.
I don't think it was donated and it's probably shot, I think. It was using a lot of gear oil.
And then,
It's not any good anymore.
and then the pickup truck is set for 4, 5, 6 years.
Do you think we would look into getting a part-time maintenance person at all?
That's
I'd
up
like
for
to-
discussion.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that happen someday, but we could always,
We bought it reasonable, but
Yeah.
it is four-wheel drive, isn't it, Jim?
yeah.
The longer it sits, the,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's flat tire on it now.
right.
Which isn't good for it.
The longer it sets, the worse it's gonna get. My thought was if we ever did get a maintenance man again, we could look to getting something newer, even a little bit newer, if we needed to.
Yeah, well, you know, if we're gonna, why don't we toss in, go ahead and sell those chains and stuff that are for that tractor and
Yeah.
up there, anything else
That's a
that,
good idea.
what about those furnaces?
Oh, that are sitting in there
Yeah, one of
too?
them
Yeah.
works, yeah.
That's fine.
It's just
Okay.
stuff that's taking up room in that.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever put heat back in that building.
Probably not.
I mean, right now, the stuff that we have, that we use, has to get stored right at the door because we don't have any room to store it out of the way.
Full
Yeah.
of junk back in there that.
Before we end up ruining something that we use
Mm-hmm.
because we're storing stuff we don't.
Yeah, Alan, you go back there, probably more than any of us would ever in that building. What do you see back there that's, could be,
I'd say those chains and furnaces and I know there's a bad gearbox on the shredder.
Yeah,
okay?
that shredder's no good.
That,
No use of
in the-
setting in
the
there.
pickup, you know, that'd leave a lot of room, because we need to make a
We have
bracket
a-
to put those hoses on for that trash pump and
Mhm.
stuff. We need to get rid of a bunch of that
We
stuff.
Before
have
it
a-
gets
We have a
ruined.
sickle mower too, I think, don't we someplace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sycamore in there.
Because we would get, for this tractor, wouldn't use that at all.
No, no.
Maybe eventually we'd get a newer
We'd probably gonna
shredder,
have to, yeah.
a bigger
to get
shredder
those-
that will fit.
Yeah, this one wouldn't fit it
That
in.
way
wouldn't fit
those
it anyway,
lagoon-
and-
lagoon can be.
Right.
Like a wing pad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a better shredder down the road.
Yeah, so,
That's
yeah, I
right.
would,
Wing pad. Something with a ding pad.
when is that, the
February,
Dakin?
no, yeah, February 20th, I believe.
When's the list date?
February
Wing feather.
early,
Yeah, it won't be that far away.
first, second, third, something like that.
Well, the furnaces.
I was surprised it was that late for listing.
Furnaces, so that,
Chains.
chains.
I don't know what else.
There's a couple of weed eaters in there. Do those work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
we'll use them, so
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah, we would use those, you don't want to.
No, that's all I,
The chainsaws.
We'd want to keep all that on hand, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put a word in. I think a person would make more money at Saline Center than they would at Dakin.
when is that one?
March
March.
sometime.
Because it seems like their stuff really sells over there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
that's
does,
up to you,
doesn't it?
but I think the village can make some more money on that.
Yeah, we did one on that truck
Give us a
up
little
there.
time to get
Yeah,
it.
and we don't need to make a decision tonight at all, even for Dakins. I mean, it was just something to
Maybe we need to.
to
come
start
up-
the discussion.
Take an inventory.
Get down there and take a look.
Come up with a list.
Mhm.
You bet.
Yeah, 'cause I
Talk
think-
about it next meeting with a.
Absolutely.
An actual list.
Yeah,
An
I think
accurate,
so.
an accurate list.
We'll start with this, we know that.
Right.
And with that, it is 7:15. So I will take a motion to open the hearing on the cell phone tower. We need to move to open up the hearing.
I'll move. The hearing on the cell tower.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to open the hearing on the cell tower. James?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie? And I vote aye. 7:15. And with that, I'll turn it over to Peter McNally to
All right.
break it down for us.
All right, thank you. My name is Pete McNally. I'm with a company called the Grinnell Group, and we do real estate work for U.S. Cellular. And they are looking to improve coverage in town. They've provided coverage in Thayer and surrounding counties throughout the state for a number of years, but this has not been one of those areas you may have noticed. They get their share of complaints, they respond to those complaints, and that's what brought me here today. The first thing we do is we look for existing towers to co-locate on, and there's not a tower within 7 miles of town. So we then start to look at raw land candidates. We came to an agreement with Dan and Teresa to go on their property. The tower would be located about 500 feet to the rear or the north of their house, up on the bluff. So it's a good 1,000 feet from the road. It'd be 300 feet tall. It would be guyed, so it's the skinny kind with the guy wires that come out in 3 directions. There'd be a small building at the base. There'd be room for a generator and a propane tank to power that generator. All that would be enclosed with a security fence. Once it's built, it's unmanned. Typically, someone will come visit the site once a month, just to make sure all the radios and stuff are working well, control the weeds inside of the fenced-in area, all that sort of jazz. Other than that, it just sits there and serves the town. So it'll have phone service, it'll have the data service, it will get good coverage to town, not just on the streets, but in the buildings. The days of walking out to your front porch to make a phone call aren't acceptable anymore. There was a time when you came home and you set the cell phone down by the door and you didn't touch it again.
No.
And someone called you on your cell phone, you said, "Can I call you back on my landline?" Well, that, you know, that isn't the way it is anymore. Cell phones have really become the predominant form of communication. In fact, 70% of 911 calls come from cell phones. So there's that sort of public safety component to it as well. It naturally makes sense. You're with the phone, you're out on the road, you're wherever you may be. It's a timely tool. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have. There are drawings that were submitted as well. If you want, if you need another copy, I've got a copy with me as well.
So other companies can buy service to your tower, is that right?
Yeah,
Or not? They can share,
They
but they
can
have
share
to
the
pay.
tower. Yep.
Okay.
And the companies do that a lot, where they'll locate on each other's towers.
That's what I was, my understanding.
Yep. So this will hopefully make it a little bit easier for somebody else to come, because there'll already be a tower in place.
Any other questions for him from the crowd as well?
Personally, I just see it as a win-win for people that totally use their cell phones for a phone, which I have felt kind of dangerous with 911 call being a possibility.
So is it until other companies buy into the area, is it gonna be US Cellular specific?
Yeah, the U.S. Cellular would build the tower, put their equipment on it and operate it, so there'd be U.S. Cellular service here. If some other carrier had a roaming agreement with them, and I'm not sure who might, then they would too, but otherwise the other carriers would need to come in and invest as well,
Okay.
basically in antennas and radios and stuff like that.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll have a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close cell phone tower hearing.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to close the hearing on the cell tower. James?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
And I vote aye. And then we will need a motion to approve the plans for the tower. I give our okay.
I'll make a motion we approve the proposed plans of the tower.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Marge and seconded by Angie to approve the U.S. Cellular Tower proposal. James?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
And I vote aye. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ben obviously is not here, and he had nothing to report on the lawsuit because it got postponed. It has been postponed to February 4th at, I believe, 10:45 a.m.
Is it 10:45?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
And that's all he had, other than he will take care of the Mary Anderson property deal for us as well, so. That will move on to reports. Alan?
I really don't have a whole lot of report. Everything, wastewater, on the wastewater side, everything's functioning well, water's functioning well. Outside of a couple of valves that we want to replace, a couple hydrants in the spring, I don't really have anything. If any of the board members have any concerns or questions? If not, that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
All righty, thank you. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn until February.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion so we can go home.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. James? Marge?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
I vote aye. We are adjourned.
Family.